Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, August 10th. I want to go over exactly what we have in the news today. So, unfortunately, it seems like Donald Trump's executive orders from yesterday are not exactly going over too well. It seems like this week Republicans and the Democrats are saying, okay, we're going to have to just go back to meetings to try to get this next stimulus package done because the media has kind of been tearing apart Trump's executive orders here. A lot of people are saying that it's a joke and that he doesn't have the power to do this and that it can never happen. And there are some real issues with it, and I don't know how realistic it is that these actually come together. So the good news, even if they don't, is that it looks like Republicans and Democrats are probably going to continue their meetings this week and try to come up with some sort of stimulus package. If anything happens and that Trump's executive orders don't actually go through the way that we believed, right? What the Republicans are realizing, though, is that the executive orders are not exactly helping their reelection chances, right? They thought that, okay, if Trump does the executive orders, it'll be good for our reelection, but it seems like that's not the case, right? The executive orders aren't doing what they expected because they just might not be effective. They might not be able to go through as easily in the way that Trump wants them to. So I'm going to go through each of the orders and kind of what the problems are and what we're looking at. So, talking about the payroll tax cut, it is unlikely to begin earlier than 2 to 3 weeks from now. So it's going to take a while for that to even begin, 2 to 3 weeks before you can expect to see anything like that go on the paycheck, right? And we're also unsure if it's 6.2% or 7.65% due to poor wording in the executive order and not matching what leaders have said. So this could actually be a 6.2% payroll tax cut instead of the 7.65 that we originally thought, right? Which is unfortunate, right? Obviously, we want that as high as possible. 7.65 is better than 6.2. So keep in mind as well, this is just a deferral at the moment. So meaning that you'll have to pay it back eventually if Trump doesn't sign something that says otherwise, right? So you'll have to pay that money back. Trump did say, however, that he's working on waiving the deferral, and he also said that if he's reelected in January, that he'll permanently cancel the payroll tax. So there's a good chance that you don't have to pay it back, but right now it is just a deferral. So keep that in mind that there's a chance you may have to, even if that goes into effect 2 to 3 weeks from now. You could have to pay that back eventually. Republicans and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says that this will not defund Social Security. They're not going to take the funds for the payroll tax cut from Social Security, and that the money will come from the general fund to make sure that the Social Security stays funded, right? Which is a fancy way of saying that they're going to have to borrow more next time that they go to do their budget, right? They're going to have to borrow more money. They're not taking it from the Social Security fund, though, which is a good thing, right? Speaking on the evictions, right? The eviction ban. Larry Kudlow today says that they will absolutely freeze the evictions, right? He's saying because of the executive orders, there's no effective date, right? The executive orders don't give a date as to when the eviction ban ends or when you're not allowed to evict someone, so it's a little unclear, right? All the executive orders are just a little bit unclear as to exactly what's going on, right? So, but Larry Kudlow saying that, yes, they're absolutely going to freeze evictions. People aren't just going to be out on the streets, so last one I want to talk about is the enhanced unemployment, right? Many states are saying that they cannot participate in Trump's executive order, which is really, really bad news, right? It's likely that these payments, even if states are able to do it, won't go out until the end of August. So again, we're going to have to wait 2 to 3 weeks before anyone even sees these payments. That is if you're in a state that even is willing to participate, right? And now, even if your state is willing to participate and you've waited till the end of August to get yours, there's only 5 weeks of realistic funding available, right? So, I don't know. The unemployment just doesn't look great as the executive order variation. I hope that the Republicans and Democrats get something together so that we can make this a little bit easier. I had a good question in the comments yesterday, and I want to go over and clarify on the unemployment a little bit more. So, to qualify for the unemployment this time around, it's different. Last time, if you made even $1 from unemployment state pay, then you qualified for the $600 boost, right? This time it's a little different. In order to get the $400 boost, you have to make the requirement of at least $100 in state pay to get $300 plus the 100 boost, which is not good because this disproportionately affects very low-wage workers, right? It's not great. So it's a little bit confusing and it's tricky. So states are giving the $100 or the 25%, and the government is what's giving the $300 boost or the 75%, right? States must have the $100 though. If states don't have the $100 or the 25%, it's unclear what that means. Does that mean that if the state is not willing to do the 100 or doesn't have the 100, that you don't get any boost at all? No one gets the 400, or will you still get sent the 300 from the government? We don't know exactly. It's very unclear as to what exactly you'll be getting. Now, Steve Mnuchin said they realized that the orders are not perfect, but we needed to do something after negotiations came to a standstill Friday, and we recommended that the president act, and he did. Both sides are saying that they still agree on the $1,200 stimulus checks, but the bad news is we're now seeing that these could die if the time keeps lingering and negotiations keep taking longer and longer. These stimulus checks could go away, which is really bad. So the biggest thing we need to focus on is just watching what happens this week with the Republicans and Democrats, if they go back to a meeting and if they can get something worked out, especially now that the pressure is on the Republicans, since these executive orders are not good for re-elections. The pressure is really on now. So I'll keep you guys up to date on if anything else pops up in the news. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and good later.